Our next guest I first met at Grandview College when I went there, and she held the best campus parties. She was in the communications building, and I didn't know the novel talent that she had until later when I saw at 8035 Festival a lot of naked women gallivanting around the downtown area, completely nude, but covered in body paint, in very intricate, cool body paint. It kind of even took away from the fact that they were completely nude. Lo and behold, 5 years after the fact, that is what Emily Svec had gotten into. And this is Emily Svec, Body by Svec, and since I have used her to paint my body, and she's done an awesome job, and she's really the only person in the area I know that does this sort of thing. Are you an exclusive body paint artist? Are you the only one that does it that you know of?
I think there's a few people in town that dabble in it.
But they're posers.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
But in body paint is one of those services that the applications for it are maybe few and far between for most people, but in the performing arts, it adds, from my personal experience, it adds a million candle power of energy to the show. When you're painted up, it's an extra focal point. When your body becomes a canvas, all of a sudden you're this moving piece of art. That's why I like it, because
you're a walking, talking piece of art. That's kind of the whole premise of being body painted is utilizing the body as an art form, and then all of a sudden this is an art form. This is not a canvas. You can walk up and talk to them and have a conversation, and have a good time, party, dance with a piece of art. Sure.
what's the most you painted on a body? Have you done any completely nude?
Yeah, those are normally for photo shoots. I actually kind of, if I'm doing a project where a lot of times, on the, I suppose, artistic direction of a photo piece, I usually require that the model is completely nude because it's just, it's better for photography. You have no lines, you don't have to edit out much, you don't have to avoid a certain area because there's clothes on it.
So you have to establish almost like a relationship that a doctor has, this completely confidential, very comfortable atmosphere if someone's going to get nude.
You learn a lot of really interesting things about people when they're completely nude in front of you.
So let's continue this interview. Let's do my bald head as a canvas.
Yeah. Emily
Emily is going to demonstrate her abilities right here live on Des Moines Live using my head as a canvas, which I volunteered to be. Right, what are the legal stipulations of painting a nude body? You have to cover the nipples and the midsection.
Actually, we're running into a little problem with that right now. I just got done working on this show in collaboration with Les Talk and Raza Studio, where we did Drag King, which, by the way, we have a Drag King 2 coming up sometime in February.
So it's women dressing as men.
Yes, that's the premise. And the whole thing was we wanted to do this kind of gender bender business where the women were painted as men, but they were very obviously women because obviously they still have breasts.
Right.
But Vice actually called and said that was no longer allowed. According to the old ordinance, that women have to have from nipple to underlip covered.
Even if they're dressed as men.
Even as, yeah, exactly. The whole premise went out the window where, well, that's kind of the point. They're dressing as men. And I guess she may have argued it a touch and said, well, what if we had painted men?
Right, because it's kind of fundamentally sexist when you get into that.
Yeah.
Like reverse sexism almost.
It's a bit unconstitutional, if you ask me. One interesting thing we ran into is that oftentimes the girls actually get more attention when they're wearing bras. I think when they aren't wearing bras, it almost is kind of a fear thing. You don't want to come off the wrong way. You don't want to approach them.
So you have been dating our featured poet tonight, Joffrey Crumb, for how long now?
For over 2 years.
And you
We're
guys.
coming up on 2.5. Yeah. Maybe.
We got a little ambiguity here on the date. Typically, your models are females, right?
Yes. There is a lot more market for painted females than there is painted.
Right. And name some of the applications for this. What would be an instance where somebody would hire you?
Let's see. Well, I do a lot of photography work. That's where actually a lot of, it's a lot more private. The gigs that I actually get hired for with photography, this next month I may have 3 or 4, but
cleaning of the paint. How does that work usually? Typically, from my experience, the shower has been. It looks like a tornado came through when I get done, but it cleans.
I always recommend having a shower buddy.
A shower buddy. Damn. I like the sounds of that. Is there anything else you can do with your shower buddy other than clean the paint?
That is entirely up to you, Spencer.
That sounds delicious. Who would you recommend for a shower buddy?
Who would I recommend?
Who's like the perfect person for a shower buddy?
Well, I don't. I don't often paint myself, so I guess I would probably be the best person to ask.
Right.
But it looks like you're volunteering.
All right. Will you be my shower buddy?
I speak to you, soft nothings.
Oh my gosh, soft nothings with steamy hot shower water coming down. This sounds like my brand of vodka.
Bring it together in the end.
Have you ever thought about doing maybe like an event where you only have subjects that either suffer from Parkinson's or physical Tourette's, so they're jerking around constantly while you're painting?
That sounds impossible. Or really abstract. It could get abstract.
Sounds kind of like Pollock.
Jackson Pollock?
Spin art.
That would be cool. So someone could be on a merry-go-round and you just paint them every time they come around
Just throw paint on.
until it turns into. No, you'd have to concentrate on the stroke.
One of my favorite kind of paint jobs is just the drip effect, I call it. And it's just essentially dumping paint on something. And in a somewhat organized fashion, at least color-wise. But overall,
So,
it's a really neat effect.
obviously, you don't just go down to the True Value and buy a bucket of paint. You have to have special body paint that doesn't have anything that's going to harm your skin. Where do you order offline, or is there a place in town?
I am very blessed and honored to work with Patrick Boltinghouse with my paints. He's fantastic, and he has just taught me a lot in the brief period that I've gotten to know him. And he actually orders them, or I order them through him. So I kind of get the luxury of not having to seek them out myself. But in the process also, when they come in, I end up learning a lot from them about the paint. So,
Latex. What is latex good for if you want to cover an entire body?
yeah, that's actually what I started out using was latex. And, that's essentially what I learned on. And it's a great starting tool because it's not entirely that expensive. It's got a wide variety of colors and, it's just your basic paint. But what ends up happening is it's really damaging to your airbrushes and can be really difficult to use in long extended periods because it has a tendency to peel. So this is a really an upgrade from that original paint because it doesn't peel.
So if I you ever had any of your subjects have to wear a diaper?